Howdy hey, Hoalinas. I'm redoing this because I did the other side a day or two ago, or it could have been a month, or it could have been yesterday. Who knows? What I'm doing is packing the wheel bearings, changing out the brake hoses, and wheel cylinders, and junk like that. Replacing what I see. And here directly, not tonight, because it's already about midnight or so, I'm going to put the master cylinder on this thing, which is kind of involved. So this is all just a bearing packing looking thing. If it works, it works. So it'll take me a spell to get this uploaded. So you'll just have to wait, like you wait with anyway, my uncle had bated breath, but we still loved him. So y'all just wait, and I'll see if I can get this to record this time, and then it's get it to upload. Can you see that? Raise your hand if you can see that. I'll probably get in the way. Okay, first thing is got this cap off. Wheel bearing cap, or hub cap, well, whatever you want to call it. But I got it knocked off with, sometimes you can use these things and just peel them off, but I had to use my scraper behind it and knock it off on this little lip it's got. So, and another thing on scrapers, I knocked off the, I like to beat on my tools with hammers. I don't have a tool that I can't beat on with a hammer. So if you get you a nice little scraper from the scraper store, the best thing to do to keep from knocking the handle off is can you see that? You grind the handle back, relieving the metal that goes all the way through. That way you're beating on the metal and not on the handle. The handle will come off, believe me, if you don't recess the handle and just beat on the through metal to the thing. And you can tell that I've had this bad boy for probably 30 years. And it used to be an 18-foot scraper, but now it's down to this. But now we're going to get into the nitty-snitty and pull this out. Now I've seen nails, I've seen horseshoe nails, I've seen all sorts of sundry cotter key looking things on cars during my tenure. Try to get these as close as possible. Whack them out. Use this as a pry bar. 1, 2, 3. And you're out. That had a correct cotter key in it. Holy cremoli. And supposedly you can do this. Shouldn't be tight. If it's tight, you got a problemo. Yes, I got some blue hand things, but gloves, but they sent me all left-hand sides, and I'm not left-handed, although my right hand doesn't do right anymore. But anyway, we'll just use the skin God gave me. And I'm going to put the brake hose on it. It's always easier when you got something that's been here. Can you even see this thing? I cut the brake hose. What are you going to do? Save it? So I cut it so I could get my wrenches up on it closer, so there's a lot less chance of stripping something out if you can get a good wrench on it. Of course, you've got line wrenches and stuff there. But that helps. Just cut your line, and that way you can slide the wrench down it or up it or whatever. Y'all already know this. So overlook me when I'm repeating stuff. Oh, then you go. There, left-legged. And this apparatus comes out and you give it a good look before you even start cleaning it, because it will tell you what's what. And the grease is all one color. It's not cloudy or brown here. That tells me that it's not leaking water. Put that in the cap. So we'll get after the inside one. Whoop. There we go. And that don't hurt nothing. Unless now, I don't know if that's one of them caveats that I watch people and they say, oh, there's a caveat to that. And hopefully I'm using it right. You can't jerk one out like that with the nut when it's got them round bearings. Or I never could. I tried one time on an old Chevrolet truck. Beautiful truck. Had the chrome grille in it, which is rare. And it was from the, I guess, the early 40s. It may have been a 40. And you see that the inner seal is not hurt by that, because it gets a good straight pull by this bearing. It doesn't hurt the bearing as long as it's not the ball bearing, roller bearings. And that looks good. And it's not brown. It's just blacker than Hogan's goat. And I'll clean that seal up. If I don't like it, it'll get a seal. I think I got some in the cabinet over there. And put the nut yard there. And this is a good time to look at your spin dial. So you grab, where is it? I'll use this. Grab your handy dandy blue towel. And you're looking for, of course, scratches and stuff, natural stuff, but I always look for a different discoloration. Like if it's been hot, it'll look like it's tempered. That looks good, and it had good threads when I was taking the nut off of it. So that's good. And I use the rest of this thing. To clean the grease out of the drum. This is the drum. And take the grease out of it, such as it is. Now, I was taught, I don't remember who taught me, but I bet they're dead by now. All the people I used to work with, well, not all, there's 3 left, are gone. They made it to heaven before I did, so that's good for them. But I don't got them down here so I can mess with them. So you just clean out the hub, get that old nasty grease out, and you see it's commencing to come out the end. I'll put this on my new blue jeans. And once it permusculates, you get it out, and it sticks to the whirl like a mad octopus going to the bathroom. Then you try to mess with the races. You can give a good look on the races, the bearings, and the races that the bearings sit on. They look marby. And there's very little brake dust on this thing. When I done the back brakes, the hubs still had the assembly clips on them. The drums still had the assembly clips. I'll go get one. Y'all talk against yourselves. Where are you? There's a cricket. Ugh. Where are you? What did I do with them clippies? Here it is. I didn't put them back like well, they don't do any good now, I guess, since they're not rolling down the assembly line. I need to pull my pants up, but my hands are in no shape. Ugh. That's what happens when you're fat. Your belly pushes your britches down. See these assembly clips? They go around the, excuse me, they go around the wheels studs holding the drum on the back axle, so that when you're going down the assembly, the drum don't fall off and mash Narvel Felt's little feet. Boy, I hate greasy hands, but I've had greasy hands for 90% of my life. So the rest of this is straightforward. I really don't think. I mean, I recorded almost 30 minutes, which is about the way I do. There's a drill bit. The way I do. I try to make a 5-minute video and it lasts all night. But it's going to get this. Says Rat Fink on it, I think. And it's got a new copper washer thing for the new hose. So these hoses have been pretty good so far. And I'll trim the hoses on and stick this in there, and the brakes are halfway decent on this. So I'm just going to leave them alone. They're bonded. No, they've not been in jail. But they're glued onto the brake shoe itself, which I don't like, because I just don't like them. I like the riveted kind. That way you get to throw your hubs away, and when it gets down to the rivets, you just throw the whole smear away. But these look like they just been put on when you get them cleaned up. And none of the brake adjusters were messed up. All the little rubber plugs that are in the back that you push out to adjust everything has been in them, and they'll go back. They'll go back. There you go, boy. And well, I think that's it. You all know how to do all this spring stuff, and I'm just gonna leave the shoes on it and just sneak the wheel cylinder out. Then I'll put the wheel cylinder back in, and I'll sneak the adjuster out, and I'll clean it up and put a dab of grease on it and cram it in there and adjust it and put my bearings back in with a new seal. Oh, now I was going to get in here and tell you, I was told years ago to pack some grease in the hub itself. Not in the bearings, but in between where the front bearing and the back bearing goes. And their idea was that when the bearings get hot, it'll melt this grease and it'll run back into the bearing and grease the bearing again. Well, if these things, the grease we got and has been for hundreds of years, are high temp, so it has to get flaming before it melts any grease. And so if you've got a wheel bearing going out, let's say in a 51 Ford, and it gets hot enough to melt that grease, it's going to catch a fire. And when it's catching a fire, if it's just got a little bit of grease on the bearing, I mean, everything's ruined anyway, it's going to just go out, or you can put it out lots easier. But if you've got a handful of grease up in the hub, that will feed the fire, and sometimes it'll feed the fire enough to drip on the ground and then go back up and catch your truck or car on fire. It's just like having, you know, I don't know, gasoline or something packing in your hubs, and it'll burn a lot more if you got a lot of grease in there to feed the fire. I always leave a little bit because there's always plenty in there, but I don't put any in the hubs anymore. I've done it for years, but I don't do it anymore. I've seen too many cars catch a fire out on the interstate and just burn catch the whole car on fire. So that's the grease story. And also, these things here, I don't wash them anymore. The bearings, I don't wash them. I wipe them off really good, and I try to juber out all the grease I can out of them. And then I put them in my bearing packer and let the hydraulic action of the bearing packer push out the rest of the grease, and then I clean the bad grease off of it, and they're packed. Now when you get another guy told me, he said to check on your bearings. He said once you get them clean, of course he was washing them, he said you clamp them in your hand like that, tight, and then you roll the inner race around and see if you feel any gravel or anything like that. That'll check this inner part here. That's what he said. So God bless him. I've done that. But I'm going to give these a little smear and wipe off, and I'll show you my hydraulical bearing packer thing. This will be a quickie. All my races are good. Might take another little swash of grease out of them. Blow the brake dust out, which is, I don't see very much. And I usually do a better job, but this will still work. Okay, you ain't got time for me to goob with you on this stuff. Here's a bearing packer. It's an easy squeezy from Blue Point. So you got a cone in there, you put this in here, cone in, cone in, and if the grease gets too low in it, you can either, it's got a Zerk right here, a Alamite or a Zerk, or whatever you want to call it, grease fitting. You just put your grease gun on there and hoop it up, or else when it gets so low you can push on it and it'll spring back and open up the whole clamshell. And this here is extendable. When it gets down low, pull this out, turn it like that, and it gives you some more leverage. And it fits like that. A lot of you've already got these. Put that there. Put this here. Come here. Come here, you little. Wolves are coming up. I'm trying not to howl with them, because it's not a, I know you don't want to see a 60-year-old man get out there and howl. That looks like an almost new bearing. Timken USA, yep. And I'm going to pack these 2 at a time. So, got that one. Put this one in there too. And then this right there. And off camera, I will put something over this so I don't get any street dirt in it. Where art thou? I should use another blue thing. Phew. I won't use another blue thing because I have to use my shoe. And if I go in the house with a greasy shoe, I'll have to clean it up. Marianne won't holler at me too bad, but still, I try to be responsible. I'll use this clean rag. And I'm going to put it there. Well, let me handle the camera with grease on my fingers. Oh, ouch. It's bad to be old, but it's good to be still here. I'll put you right there. Now, can you see this thing? Put your hand up if you can. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm going to put this over it and then stand on it. Mel McDaniel. I'm going to put 200 and plenty pounds on it. Whoops. It's kind of gibbery. And what that's doing is it's hurting my foot. And it's pumping out all that nasty grease out from inside the bearing where you can't reach. At them hard to reach at places. By golly, I think it did it. Let's see what it did. This one didn't have hardly any nasty grease in it. The grease in this side has been lots better. The other side shows a little water. It was a little bit brown on the inner bearing. That's going to work. Put that in the cap. Let's see what the big one does. Come here. Now see, that's got a little bit of dirt right there. Oops. Hey, I won. I'm going to dig down below and clean that bearing. Buddy, she's packed. She's packed tighter than Dick's hat band. And he's pretty tight. He wouldn't give a nickel to see an ant eat a bale of hay. Now, what we've got here is a fully packed bearing. And you can't hardly turn it, but you can turn it, but you can't hardly turn it. Now this stuff's going to have to be cleaned and scrumptiously washed out, not washed out, but wiped out. But we'll save that for a later date. Put this date over here, put a lid on it, and we'll call that good. Oh, the greasy go, the greasy go. Yeah. He stood up. Yay! Run, Herschel. Put this in my garbage can that I can't hit. Oh gosh, I missed that one too. Now then. I'm going to turn you loose here directly in just a minute to do some better, some worse, something. I got to get this grease off. Put you a little snot here. Put a little snot and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. When the boogers are away, you'll have snot to play. And then you take your hands over to the wire wheel and you clean it out. Boy, I wish I had a little friend to tear this up so I won't have to get it dirty. Ooh, gee, I wish I had a little friend. I had a little friend, but he don't move no more. Let's see, I told you about the back, I told you about the front. Give you my opinions on something or another. You're not going to knock the handles out of your scrapers now. And that's good. And I think I'll just shut this off and finish this up tomorrow or the next day. Woo! Okay, see, you've been genuinely saved from seeing me while I'm doing this. Let's see, I got the viewfinder there. Now, Mark's garage, he's over in the mother country, England. He was showing some of them stands, three-legged stands that you stick a pin in whenever you get them adjusted, how good they are. And I told him the stupid things that I used and never had nothing fall on me, but it just fell on somebody else, I guess. I hope not. But I'll show you something about these. The jack stands that I got now, and I've already showed this to some people. When you get these little Harbor Freight, this is a Craftsman, but if you get the Harbor Freight jack stands with the ratchet and stuff, where it holds is right down through here. This little bitty plate is what keeps everything from going to Memphis on you. If that kicks out, this will move and it will drop, and it won't say nothing before it does, because you'll just be dropped and you'll be flat as a pancake. Ooh, I wish I had some pancakes, but you don't have pancakes at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or do you? Let me see if these horrible freight ones. I tried to weld them all up. Nope. That one ain't got a sign of welding. Boy, that's not good. That'll be welded. That one doesn't have one, ain't got one. That's a double negative. And that one's not welded. Yeah, it's a good thing you told me this stuff, because I've been using them for years, but it just takes one time. Oh, there is my wheels and tires for this. They're tall, and they're 15s, and they're chrome reverse. There's one on the old car. Now, a lot of you guys like to lower these cars, especially these cars. But I like a car to sit up like it did when it was new. And I've seen in my days, I've seen cars all saddle-backed and wore out, and they all lay on the ground like a lowrider or whatever. And they bounce up and down and stuff because the shocks are wore out, and the springs are flopping left and right, and the fender's falling off. And that just reminds me of them wore out cars when I see a nice, beautiful lowrider or whatever lowered. I'm gonna turn the heat off. And that's how I think of it. I want my cars to stand up and at least look like they're newer or not saddle backed or wore out, or they've been hauling rock in it or something. Get this stud up here. I'm really not good at this stuff. You'd think I would be after, I think, 10, 11 years. But that's my taste, or lack thereof, of lowered cars. Street rods, I think some of them look pretty good. And the rat rods, they look good up on 3 wheels. I don't care what they look like. They're not my car. And I would never pick on anybody else's car because they've got stuff lots better than me. But for me, I want them to stand up and act right. Let's see, what else can I blow about? Jeepers, I guess that's it. Oh, I heard somebody say, yay! It was probably me. So, I'll say Saranachi to y'all. And you know I love you. And I'm praying. My prayer list gets longer every day. And that's a good thing. It doesn't hurt me to pray for everybody or anybody. It's actually an honor to want you to feel better and to do better and smell better. Oops. Irish Spring and high karate. Yeah, I've got some old high karate. Woo. You got me pitching for you. And if I got any pull with anybody upstairs, it's going to be directed towards y'all. And boy, I don't know about this stuff that's happening to us, this Kona stuff. It's invisible. There's lots of stuff that'll get you that's invisible. And I don't like it. I mean, because you don't know if you're good or bad, or if you're safe or not safe. It's invisible. And it just takes one little lick until you're sick and you could pass away. Yeah, but we'll be all right. We're under good management. So fret not what you can do for your country. Fret because what your country can do to you. Okay, I'm going to get off of here, and y'all stay safe. And I got on eBay. Here I am talking again. I got on eBay looking for funny mascots and found me some, so I'll be getting me some more mascots. And no telling what they'll have on them. Okay. I love y'all. Bye. It says